And those students, if you want to show your face on the video, you can do so. We'll be very glad to see all of you face to face, although it's not directly face to face. Of course, our lecturers will love to see you too. I believe that they all miss you all. All right, I'm waiting for the cue from our organizer, which is a career and alumni, to start our session. Then the students also continue coming in. We have 41 right now. Hello, Professor Dina. Oh yeah, Mr. Simon is here also. Professor Tui, Dr. Agus also here. Right. Probably we have our moderator Sabrina. Sabrina, where is your video? We can see you. And Jareen is the co-host later on. Yeah, there is Catherine here with us, and we have our speakers for today's session later on. All right. We have IR Meharon also. Hi. Yeah, from Services Department. Winnie is here. Winnie. All right. So we're 5 minutes past 2 already. And I think we start right away. Are you all ready? Give a thumbs up. All right. Okay. So for those of you who just came in, we'd like you to mute your audio feed so that we wouldn't have much noise or audio interference. All right. All right. Let's start. A very good afternoon to Professor Simon Looney, Pro Vice Chancellor, President and Chief Executive, Curtin Malaysia, Professor Bina Giridharan, Deputy Pro Vice Chancellor of Curtin Malaysia and Dean Faculty of Humanity, Professor Wu Tong Tui, Dean Faculty of Engineering and Science, Deans, Managers, Staff, Alumni Speakers, and our recent graduates of Semester 2 2020 Curtin Malaysia. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Faculty of Engineering and Science pre-graduation webinar semester 2 2020. We're so glad all of you made it here today in front of your laptop or handphones or your tablet. Usually we organize this program at the lecture hall, but due to the current restriction of the MCO, we have to do it online. It creates a unique challenge, and unique challenge comes with unique opportunities. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite Professor Simon to deliver the welcoming speech to all of us. Professor Simon, the screen is yours.
Thanks very much, Mr. Nomade. Just check, you are getting my sound first? Okay, great. So good afternoon to everyone, to my Deputy PVC, to Deans, to staff of the faculty, and most importantly to students, especially those students who are graduating, and of course to our alumni who are present as well to help out with this seminar. I'm really delighted that we're here and marking this final stage of your journey at Curtin Malaysia. Although when it says final, I'm hoping that quite a few of you are looking at the options for going on and studying postgraduate, and we do have a number of scholarships, which I think Associate Professor Douglas will talk about later on in the seminar. It's a really important time for you all as you reach the end of your undergraduate degree and start thinking about what you're going to do next. And it should be a really joyful time, a time of celebration. It's time to reflect on what were the good times and maybe sometimes are the hard and challenging times. And we all know that this year has been exceptionally challenging for us all, for staff and students, but I'm pleased to say that all of my staff and the students have worked well together, and we've managed to actually go through these hard times and all grow together. And I think it's wonderful for our Curtin Malaysia community that we've been able to do that. You should have some real pride about what you've achieved. You come to the university with a certain entrance score, with some skills, and we hope that over the few years that you've been with us, that those skills have really developed into a set of abilities and what we call graduate attributes that will take you into your career and make you very, very successful. Some of you may have a future that you're not certain about. Certainly in COVID times, you may be worried about what is available there. But I'm sure that as we see coming out through COVID, we're going to see industry starting again. There's a lot of pent-up demand. There are going to be a lot of opportunities, including study opportunities. So even though you may feel uncertain, I think with this seminar, with the skills that you've learned, you can look forward to a really great future ahead. There's nearly 250,000 Curtin graduates across the world, and over 20,000 just in Malaysia alone. And many of them have gone on to hugely successful careers in a broad range of professions. And many, if not all, are contributing to both the economic and the social prosperity of Malaysia and, in fact, many other nations of the world. Of that 20,000, around about 8,000 or just under half have come from Curtin Malaysia. That is really, really important because it shows just how important Curtin Malaysia are to the global Curtin University. We're Curtin University's largest international campus, and we're one of the biggest universities, offshore universities across the globe. We're producing graduates of a global standard as well. The course that you've done, the standards that you've met, are those set by the highest regulators in both Australia and Malaysia. And so you should be proud of what you've achieved getting through that course. Hopefully later you'll be able to celebrate your studies, but I urge you to listen in today. You're going to be hearing from lots of distinguished alumni, and they're going to give you a lot of information that hopefully you'll find very useful. I would like to give you some snippets of advice as you go forward, though. You should look at every opportunity that comes your way. Don't stop now. This is just the start of your career. You should continue to develop yourself and to learn. It's very, very important that your learning doesn't stop here. You've probably heard the phrase lifelong learning. Well, your undergraduate degree is the start, not the finish. So I urge you to look ahead, look for postgraduate and professional development opportunities and take them and keep developing yourself. And most importantly, stay true to your values. You know, our values are very, very important, and they make up the fabric of what is our society. I'd personally like to thank you, and I'm sure all my staff agree with me, in choosing Curtin Malaysia. You've strived and achieved an amazing goal through getting a quality education here in Miri. I trust you will all do well in your final exams and you'll be rewarded with the incredible gift that you have worked hard towards and deserve, a world-class Curtin degree. That'll be a major asset as you go forward in your career. I urge you to look at the graduate membership opportunities, for instance, the Board of Engineers Malaysia.
Oh,
I think I lost everyone for a while there, did I?
yeah, we lost you for a while, the audio. Yeah, now we
Okay.
can hear you.
I was just encouraging everyone to think about their postgraduate study opportunities, but also graduate memberships of organisations like the Board of Engineers as well, and be prepared for what happens post 2021. The alumni today will no doubt shed some light on the current situation in their industries, and they'll give their opinions on what the immediate and the midterm and long-term prospects are for new graduates entering the workforce. But no matter what happens, always believe in the better promise of tomorrow. That's in the true Curtin spirit, and we should always strive to make tomorrow better. So, as you go out into the world, remember your times at Curtin Malaysia. Remember your classmates. Remember those networks that you set up and the friendships that you developed and all that that's given you over the past few years. I trust you will be worthy ambassadors of Curtin University as you finish your degrees. And I wish you all the very best in your future endeavours, whether they be in study, in industry, or in life generally. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Simon, for the welcoming speech to us all in today's webinar. And Professor Simon is still in Perth, and I believe he really missed all the students, especially in Malaysia and throughout the world. And I love the message, we grow together, of opportunities, especially in this very challenging time of COVID-19. And one of the things that he's mentioned just now, stay true with your values. It's very important. And make tomorrow better, coming back to the topic. All right. So we welcome those who just came in. And we have 115 already. Welcome to Faculty of Engineering and Science pre-graduation webinar semester 2 2020. All right. So to continue, on behalf of the Faculty of Engineering and Science, I now like to invite Professor Vu Chongtui to say a few words to the faculty's graduates. Professor Tui, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Nomine. Actually, I'm preparing for my quiz after Ina. Anyway. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you very much for joining the section today. Speaking after Prof. Simon, actually, is quite an easy job for me because I can echo a lot of nice words that he mentions. And I picked up one thing he mentioned about is the opportunities. Okay, I'm coming back reflection on my personal developments. About 20 years ago, or even more than that, I cannot recall the time. I was the same as you now when I graduated from a university, and maybe you share the same feeling or experience with me like 20 years ago that I think that's gonna be the end. Okay, it's enough. A lot of hard stuff to study, and then that's enough. But then I realized that actually it's just the beginning. The beginning of the exploration of the new world. When you feel more self-responsibility for your own career, for all your development. If you can reflect yourself from now to compare with you, the day that you entered Curtin University for the first day, you will see a lot of growth in yourself. Not only the knowledge, the skill, the friendship, but a lot of in personal insight that you feel that you have been grown. And that would be the weapon for you to go on. Okay. I think all of the lecturers that have been in this seminar with me in the room now is sharing the joys with me that working with you, the student, for the last 3 or 4 years now, we are very proud of your achievement. Okay, so you should be proud of yourself that what you have achieved so far, and make full use of what you have learned, what you have gained from the time you've been with us at Curtin University. And I strongly believe that the next step in your career, no matter what you do, you will be successful. Okay. Congratulations once again, and I would like to say a few words to other alumni. I'm just joined Curtin, so I didn't have chance to meet with you before as a student or as alumni before, but thank you very much for your time spending to share your experience, sharing the lesson that you learned so far to your junior friend. And believe that, as Professor Simon just mentioned, we have a rich network of alumni, Curtin alumni here in Malaysia and worldwide. So that will be a platform for you to utilize the network, utilize the sharing experience, so that you can avoid a mistake that many people have been made along the way, and you can save a lot of your time in your development. Okay, so hope you stay to the end of the section today and stay in touch with us, with our lecturer, with our faculty, with Curtin Malaysia, and we will grow together. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Tui, for the speech just now for all the students. And next, we'd like to invite Professor Bina Giridharan, supposed to be after Professor Simon just now, apologize, to share a few words with us. Professor
Okay.
Bina, finish yours.
Yeah, thank you, Nomide. Thank you. A very good afternoon to our Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Simon Leinig, the Dean of Faculty, Professor Tui, heads of departments, students, staff, and alumni graduates joining us this afternoon. I hope you're all fine, and it's really nice that we have 134 participants, including all of us this afternoon. Firstly, my congratulations to all of you in reaching this pivotal point in your university journey, which is graduation. And it's a great moment of celebration. We are proud to join you in celebrating your academic success and accomplishments. You are scholars, you're all scholars ready to apply your acquired knowledge to enhance and advance in this world we live in. The world we assumed would welcome graduates with open arms has somewhat changed because of our present, pandemic. But I know that it has changed, in ways we never imagined that would happen, and you may feel somewhat not adequately prepared. But believe me, you are more than ready to walk into this wider world and commence your careers and move on to greater goals. We may have some delays in having celebratory events, but surely they are going to come. In the midst of this global change, I think it is very important to pause as we acknowledge your resilience, your intellect, your determination to move on, to succeed. And you have met all the academic requirements of your program. And, in some ways, you were immediately forced to learn some lessons of nothing is promised and uncertainty of tomorrow. Your adjustment and preparation for the future is going to require the practical skills that you have adapted in this very short time. And, they exist beyond face-to-face classrooms and virtual classroom environments. We know that. So we are cognizant that some of you have been affected. I mean, we have all been affected to some extent, but some families have been affected you have been subject to the financial instabilities and the uncertainty of the future, and we are aware of that. The sudden switch to remote learning, across this academic year has also created a new reality that we somehow have to continue to adjust to. But, during this time, let us acknowledge everyone who has supported us on this journey, be it your family members, your close friends, who have, who are your classmates, your lecturers. All of these people have supported and guided and mentored you, and we can reflect on their contributions to your success. Moving forward, I think, you should continue to create a circle of, good friends and support networks, and people with positive energy and can-do attitudes. You should continue to connect and reconnect with all these people who provide, who continue to provide to give you resources and guidance. And remember that your university, your professors, your lecturers are ever ready here to support and guide you always. Please remain optimistic and ensure that your inner voice is that of an encouraging coach and not always, too critical of you, because that will hinder your progress towards your goals. In closing, I just want to reassure you that you have proven your incredible abilities over the course of your studies, and we salute you for that. All of your studying, research, reading, test taking, presentations, writing, all of that has now paid off. You are unstoppable, and you will continue to succeed. You're ready for what the world has to offer you, and I'm sure that you will adapt accordingly. The uncertainty of the future will always be there. The future is never certain. And yes, industries will continue to evolve and change to the current environment. But we know that with your creativity, with your critical thinking skills, you will be at the forefront to spearhead some of those opportunities from the industries. And ultimately, you will be the ones who will solve, some, if not many, of the challenges that we face. So once again, congratulations to the graduating class of 2020. And, I'm really excited to track your careers and to see how you have, you're shaping and creating new realities for all of us. So thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Professor Dina, for the welcoming speech. Moreover, they have a few takeaways from Professor Bina's open arms commitment. I believe our speakers later on will share a little bit about how we evaluate ourselves. We're more than ready with cutting, and I believe our graduates is ready to go outside. And the keyword just now, like Professor Simon mentioned and Professor Bina mentioned again, is uncertainty. And I love when Professor Bina mentioned, remember family members, close friends, classmates, lecturers in your journey. That's really, really sweet. That's really part of your thankful and gratitude, appreciation to all. And unstoppable, ready for the world and adapt accordingly. That's a very, very powerful message to all the graduates. And spearheading the industry. All our graduates will spearheading the industry in the future. All right, so we move on. We'd like to invite IR Meheron Selowaraju to do the sharing on BEM, Board of Engineering Malaysia. IR Meheron, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to our energetic MC, Nomide. Welcome and good afternoon. I'm going to share screen now. And all right. Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay, today I'm going to present about the registration with the professional bodies in Malaysia, which is the Board of Engineers Malaysia. And now that you have, congratulations again to everyone, all the graduates, that you have completed your difficult journey. And now that you are ready to join the industry and further advance your career in your area of expertise or the discipline that you are trained for. And throughout these 4 years, you have gained extensive training with the comprehensive academic, the curriculums that we have, academically and also non-academically, the skills that you have acquired, and also now you are, I would say, you're 90% engineer and ready to work. Okay. Now let's look at these are the extracts passages taken from the Registration of Engineers Act 1967, and there was a recent revision in 2015. Why is it important for a graduate to know this? Because it is mandatory for any university graduates to register as a graduate engineer. If he wish to work as an engineer in Malaysia, so it is compulsory to register as a graduate engineer as a first step after graduating with a degree. So who are qualified to register, right? The qualified engineer who has graduated from a recognized degree by the Board of Engineers are qualified to register. So in a way, if the degree is not recognized, not accredited by Board of Engineers, and the graduate cannot register as a graduate engineer, therefore they cannot work as an engineer. So that is the legal perspective of engineers' profession. And you can check the accreditation list of Engineering Accreditation Council in the website. And we are actually proud and very happy to say that all our degrees are fully accredited by BEM, and we are considered as heavily accredited faculty. And the branch of engineering as listed, and many more. Maybe some of you are in this list, right? Civil, mechanical, petroleum. And now that you have gone through a very difficult and tough time throughout the 4 years, right? You have to appreciate your hard work, and you have, after you gain your degree, you are qualified to be registered with the Board of Engineers. So why miss that opportunity to register in a professional body? Right. So once you are registered as a graduate engineer, you will be given a registration number and allowed to practice in your branch of engineering or your discipline that you gain your degree. Right now, there are three options further from graduate engineer. Right, from after becoming a graduate engineer, registering yourself as a graduate engineer, you want to further your career as a professional engineer. So after 3 years, you are further qualified to register with a professional body to be a professional engineer. So for the professional engineer, we have three routes: Route 1, BEM route, IEM route, and foreign professional membership route. So I'll discuss briefly only the first two routes for our graduates' benefit. So the first route is BEM. With the minimum 3 years working experience in your discipline, you are qualified to sit for an professional assessment examination, which is called PAE. And if you pass the PAE with the interview, and you are qualified to be registered as a professional engineer with BEM. For this to happen, the first step is to register as a graduate engineer. This is the first step, and it's a compulsory step. So the 3 years experience begins from the date of registration as graduate engineer. And the IEM route, second option, is after registering as a graduate engineer, you are qualified after 3 years to apply for a professional interview with IEM. Right, and become MIM. MIM is a corporate member of IEM, and with the corporate membership, the candidate is qualified to register as a professional engineer, because IEM and BEM have a mutual agreement to recognize the professional interview conducted by IEM to be straight away registered with BEM as a professional engineer. Right, this is a summary of the process flow chart, where we have here as accredited degree and register as a graduate engineer immediately after this, after you graduate. And becoming IEM member is optional, but BEM is compulsory. And after the 3 years, you are qualified to be to sit for the professional interview. So within these 3 years, if you need, if you think that you can't record your experience properly, then you can sign up for a logbook scheme. This scheme is provided by IEM for free for all their members. And this logbook scheme allows you to record your experience throughout the 3 years or even more. And it will be easier for the candidates to sit for the professional interview. Okay. And after registering as a graduate engineer and professional engineer, there is another tier which is called a professional engineer with practicing certificate. These both categories are equal because they are both professional engineers. Just the difference is that PEPC or professional engineer with practicing certificates are allowed to practice locally to submit drawings and design to the local authorities. So this is the revision, one of the major revision done in the Registration of Engineers Act in 2015 to allow for two-tier registration. But being a professional engineer is more than enough to advance a career and for your promotions. So professional engineer have many names throughout the world. Some countries call and have an abbreviation of CPNG, some CENG. Right? In Malaysia, we use PENG or IR in front. So this is optional, either one. And these are the description of becoming a professional engineer. So I'm sharing with you so that you can plan your career after you graduate, whatever you're going to do, you can plan to advance your career further. So this explanation about the logbook scheme that I explained just now. The mentor will be assigned to you, and you can report to the mentor of your experience 3 months once for you to acquire the 3 years minimum experience. Okay, that sums up my presentation for the related for registration as graduate engineer first before even you pursue to be a professional engineer. So these two websites are given here for your reference. You can check on the procedures of registration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, IR Meheron or Insulin Meheron for the sharing on board of Engineers Malaysia. So those of you want to become professional engineering and engineers, you can start to register yourself. Right. Next one, without further ado, I'd like also to invite Miss Winnie, Student Services Manager, to share information on the graduation. Miss Winnie, the screen is yours.
Okay, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to see a lot of participants joining us today in this pre-grad webinar session. So I'm here to share with you some important information on graduations. And then I'm sure many of you asking this question, I am graduating soon and what should I do? Okay. First, you must ensure that you have met all your course requirements. You must complete all required units, including your MPU units. Then don't forget you must also complete industrial training course. This one is for engineering and Bachelor of Technology. Also, you have to complete the first aid course. This one is for Bachelor is Engineering only. And then don't forget to update your former name, contact detail, and your preferred mailing address in eStudent Oasis. And also the last stage is complete the graduation registration, either to attend a ceremony or you want to graduate in absentia. Okay, for your information, after your school approved the course completion, the Bentley graduation office will send you a notification of graduation registration via the official communication in Oasis. But bear in mind that students with sanction will not receive any graduation communication. So to check if you currently have a sanction or not, please log into Oasis and view the sanctions channel under My Studies tab. And then please clear all your sanctions. Once sanctions are cleared, student must contact graduation office immediately. Okay, please be extra careful selecting your option when you complete the online graduation registration, because I want to remind that if you have already selected to receive graduation pack by mail, you are no longer eligible to attend graduation ceremony. All right, I repeat, if you have already selected your option to receive graduation pack by mail, you are no longer eligible to attend graduation ceremony. So please be extra careful selecting or submitting your completing your registration. Okay, from 16 December onward, after the semester 2 result release, the graduation invitation will be sent to your OC, official communication in Oasis. This graduation invitation will not be sent to mailing address or personal email or Curtin email. The graduation invitation will be sent to all official communication in Oasis to graduating students only. And then you must register online. All right, you must register online to receive your certificate, even if you do not wish to attend the ceremony. I repeat again, you must register online to receive your certificate, even if you do not wish to attend the ceremony. Please register. It's a must to register. Okay. And then another important thing is you will receive an email from graduation office on the graduation important dates and deadlines. At the moment, we only have the registration date, 16 December onward. Okay, please check your OC in Oasis on the registration link in your official communication. And then one more thing, we really appreciate your participant to take part in the graduation survey. Okay, the alumni office will send an email or notification to your student email on the graduation survey. So we really appreciate you to take part on the survey. And then please check out also emails from graduation office by next week, early October, on the graduation dates and deadlines. Okay, I think that's all for now. If you need more information, any question, please refer to graduation's FAQ at Curtin website, or you can send an email to me, to graduation office, graduations@curtin.edu.my. Okay, I think that's all, Naomi. Wish you guys all the best for final exam. Do your best, yeah? Thanks, Naomi. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Winnie, for sharing the information on graduation, especially for our students. So hope that our students will be following the SOP so that your graduation will be smoother, right? So next one, we'd like to invite Associate Professor Agus Sabtoro, Deputy Dean of Research and Development and Chair of Graduate Studies Committee, to share brief info on postgraduate study. Associate Professor Agus, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Namide.
Welcome.
Yeah, I would like to share my screen. Hang on for a minute. So I hope my slide is visible. Okay, thank you. Okay, a very good afternoon, everyone. I think I'm echoing the previous speaker. Once again, congratulations for your journey so far. And I saw some, of course, I'm from chemical engineering. I saw some of my students in the second year. So really time flies. And now you are graduating. So I think this is a great achievement. Today, I would like to share, can say is one of your alternatives after you graduate. And as you may be aware of that at Curtin Malaysia, similar to our main campus in Australia, we are also offering postgraduate studies. And of course, in this case, we also provide some scholarships. So therefore, I think this is the best time for us to share with you on some of the available scholarships that may be your subject of interest. So yes, this is just to show you that you're almost there in your university journey. Of course, this is not the end of everything, but at least you are closing another chapters of your life. So I think the next question would be, what are next? And I think I remember when I was at your age, this questions also pop up when I'm graduating. So what are next? So there are many options. There are many career opportunities. Of course, during the current pandemics, there are a lot of challenges and maybe constraints. But I still believe that you have a lot of options in front of you. And either you are opting for working in industry, you want to be entrepreneurs, you want to continue your family business, you want to be influencers, social influencers, or other things. I think that's your options. But in this case, I would like to maybe giving you an alternative, which is doing postgraduate studies with us. When you ask why, I will say why not? But because we have programs here, and also we have some scholarship available. And just to inform you on the scholarships, currently we have 2 scholarship schemes covering doctoral degree and masters of philosophy. So for doctoral degree, we have a full scholarship covered for 3 years. So you will be receiving tuition fee for 3 years and stipend also for 3 years. So if many students or the previous graduate ask me what is the take-home pay, this is a very direct question, and I think is fair enough. The average financial support that we can give is 4K plus for Malaysian students, and 5K plus, nearly 6,000 for international students. So therefore, in terms of financial support, I think our scholarship is a very competitive compared to other university scholarship, as well as the fresh graduate salary out there. Okay, so therefore, if you are interested, you can consider our Psc scholarships. The only criteria that you can join us under this scheme is that you are eligible to enroll in a direct PhD entry. Okay, otherwise, we have the second scheme, which is partial master philosophy scholarships. So slightly different. In this case, we offer you 50% tuition fee. So basically, in this scheme, you pay half and we will pay half. And along the way, if you are making a very good progress, your program can be converted to a doctoral degree. And of course, in this case, automatically you are eligible to receive the first scholarships. And we have discussed with many parties, with the managements, with colleagues from FOES and also other faculties. So we would like to prioritize our own graduate, our home ground students. So therefore, I think the next round would be your best opportunities to join us under scholarships, because your applications will be prioritized. when the scholarship round will be open. Normally the scholarship will open 2 and 3 times per year, 2 to 3 times per year. The first round for next year will be open sometimes in January or February. So basically, once you graduate, you can apply the scholarships to do masters or PhD with us. Lastly, if you are really interested and you would like to discuss the details, I have a very limited time here, but if you like to know more details about these scholarships, you can drop email to graduate school. I think the email address is there. Otherwise, you may also contact the following faculty representative. Okay, for FOES, we have Dr. Rauf. For FOB, I think tomorrow will be another representative, and FOH will be another representative. Okay. Otherwise, also you are welcome to contact me in my email address here. Okay. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. I know you have a lot of opportunities. The decision is yours, but let me say that doing postgraduate studies at Curtin can be your options. And again, if you have interest, let us know so that we can make arrangement for you. Okay, thank you everyone, and all the best for your future endeavor.
All right. Thank you, Associate Professor Agus, for the brief info on postgraduate scholarship. Right? It's very a useful information, especially for those graduates, those of you who want to continue study in master. Right? So if you have the opportunity, if you have the resource, if you have the time, go ahead, go for masters. We really encourage you to do master, especially right. So without further ado, this is the moment that we're waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have 4 speakers joining us, and we have 2 moderators and co-hosts joining us also. Maybe you can show your face on the video. All right, and let us welcome our moderator, Miss Sabrina Ha Chien Hui, and with the famous, very famous MC in Curtin, and I love him as an MC. He's very funny and he's very witty and very humorous. I would like to welcome Mr. Jereen Thomas George join us this webinar. So both of them will be running the forum session with our alumni speakers. And with our alumni speakers, we have Angelina, Alice, Irene, and goodness, and of course, Sabrina and Jerry will introduce them further. Right. So the screen is yours, Sabrina and Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Nomide. Hi guys, can you all hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, Sabrina, maybe before we start, we continue. Maybe those extra students, staff, deans who are still here, maybe you can support the video. We're gonna do just a short selfie, like just a screenshot of
okay.
this afternoon.
Yeah.
All right. Those of you who want to show your face on the video feed, you can do so that we can take some screenshot. Anyone else? Professor Tui? Nurse is joining us already. Dr. Bridget? Oh, Dr. Bridget is there, yeah. All right, smile. Okay. All right, so Miss Sabrina, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. So hi guys, my name is Sabrina. I am currently taking civil and construction engineering in my 3rd year, 2nd sem. With me today, I have Irene. So let's welcome him to introduce himself.
Oh, hi there. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that great introduction just now. And yeah, I'm Jerry, everyone, chemical engineering graduate, I would say. And yeah, I'm really excited for today's session. I hope you guys will be inspired and have fun. That's all I would say.
All right, thank you, Darren. So first off, we have 4 speakers today. And first of all, we have Vignesh Warren. So Vignesh is based in Jakarta right now. He is working with the Prismian Group as an industrial specialist sales. He graduated from Curtin Malaysia in 2016 with a bachelor's degree of mechanical engineering. Let's welcome him to introduce himself.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, my name is Vignesh. So I'm probably one of. So I know you guys are all graduating in engineering, but I'm not an engineer. I think my career path has taken me astray away from what I've studied. But I can share with you about how engineering can coincide with the commercial world and how this is very important and how your technical skills and knowledge can complement this. So I come from the cable manufacturing industry. My company, Prismian Group, has existed for 141 years. So what are the characteristics of a company that can exist for this long, right? Like, the product doesn't change much. So electrical transmission has not changed for the past 140 years. The first cable that my company laid was from UK to America, underwater telegraph cables. And the principle of that telegraph cable and today's cable has not changed. So, the world has changed, but some of the principles doesn't change. So what our Prismian Group manufactures mostly transmission cables, instrument and control cables. And we have 112 factories in 50 countries. So we are a truly global operation. And the reason being is because cables are very heavy. Most of the cables are made from copper. So it doesn't make sense for all the production to be, focused in one country. And and my job really is to try to sell this cable, to participate in big projects around the country. And my target market is Indonesia. So I think about where the Indonesian government is going to invest and where those investments are going to go. Solar farms, power plants, geothermal power plants, pulp and paper factories. So I think about where the industry is heading and I try to participate in those industries. So this is my job as sales or business development. And yep, that's a quick summary.
Thank you, Vignesh. Next off, we have Irene. Irene is currently based in Singapore. She is working with Mewah Oil and Fats as an operation controller. So she graduated from Curtin in 2016 with a bachelor's degree of chemical engineering. Let's welcome her to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay, hi, I'm Irene from currently working in Mewah Oils and Fats based in Singapore. Actually, I'm in a palm oil industry and edible oil. So what my factory or manufacture is, we include dairies, rice, also the palm oil products like the cooking oil you are used to fry things and cook things. And then we also have soft oils like rapeseed oil, things like that, sunflower oil, things like that. So what we do is our factory located in Malaysia, we manufacture it. So what my position contribute to this company is I'm a factory operation controller, means I oversees all the operation in factories, include the supply chains. So A to Z, we are the bridge of factories and top management, also the traders. So what I mostly do is we highlight those key issues to top management, and then we analyze the data, and then we support management decision. So we have all the throughout the years we collect data from factories. We oversee the production costs and chemical aids usage, things like that, and then we using this data to management for company decision and strategy making. Yes, this is what I'm currently doing. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Irene. Next, we have Angelina. Angelina is also based in Singapore. She is currently working with Michael Page as an engineering recruitment She graduated from Curtin Malaysia in 2014 with a degree of mechanical engineering. So let's welcome her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Sabrina, for the brief introduction. Hi, guys. Thanks for having us today and joining us as well. It's good to be back. So for myself, I take on a very unique path. I graduated with mechanical engineering with Curtin in 2014, and I took on a 3 years role as a project engineer within the oil and gas and marine industry before I actually decided to do a career switch. And currently, I'm with Michael Page as a recruitment consultant, very specifically for the engineering industry. So people with working experience at least 5 years and above, I recruit engineers of that level all the way to directors level. So our speaker here, like Vignesh, Irene, at least this would be my target group to recruit these technical talents with potential company. Of course, engineering is very wide. So how we work at Page is that we function very specifically. We mirror how an organization is. So I specialize only to recruit engineering desks. So that means that I only recruit within your semiconductor industry, your electronics, and as well as the FMCG sector. So these are the 3 areas that I focus at. And I, of course, do have other colleagues that recruit engineering in your oil and gas, in your aerospace industry, etc. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Angelina. Last off, we have Alice. Alice is currently based in Penang, Malaysia, working with Ambu, Malaysia. She is working as a staff R&D engineer. She graduated from Curtin in 2016 with a chemical engineering degree. So let's welcome her to introduce herself.
Hi, Sabrina. Thank you for the short introduction. And hi, everyone. Very good afternoon. So I'm Alice. I graduated as a chemical engineer in year 2016. I'm currently working for Ambu. Ambu is a medical device tech company originated from Denmark. It has an experience in the medical field for over 80 years. They are primarily known for their ventilator bags. And recently, we have ventured into single-use technology, mainly in videoscope sector. So although I'm graduated as a chemical engineer, but right now I'm working as a R&D engineer where I am specializing in mechanical design for new medical devices. And I also do a lot of product testing to ensure that the new devices, the new product that we are developing is meeting requirements from the clinical sectors, the doctors, and also in compliance to the medical international standards like FDA, ISO 13485. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's all for the introduction of our speakers today. So if you guys have any questions, please do ask in the chat box and they will answer your questions. And hopefully you'll be able to learn something from it today and it will help in your future career. So without further ado, I would like to ask the first question to all the speakers here today. So after graduating, I'm sure that it's not easy to find a job. It's not easy to, get into the working industry because you graduated as a student. So I would like to ask all the speakers today, what are your experiences when you first joined your first company after you graduate? So let's start off with Irene. Irene, your mic is off.
Can you hear me now? Yes, right. Okay. Prior to this position with Mewa, I was a production engineer in a glove manufacturer. So, what challenges for the first job, right? Is environment, I would say, because I'm basing in a manufacturing plant. It is you need.
unmute yourself. Irene, then you might want to unmute yourself because you unmute everybody just now. Got some
Hello.
interference.
Okay. So, basing in manufacturing plant, you need to deal with a lot of chemicals and harsh environment, especially the process. For glove manufacturing, you need to deal with high temperature. Like imagine you need to work in an environment like 60 degrees Celsius, and then a lot of risk because of machinery, things like that. So those are the challenges, especially for a female engineer to handle all these things. But to me, because I'm a hands-on person, I like it. I like the challenges. I like to solve when your product is not meet quality, and then within hours you manage to fix it. Things like that is depends on your interest. I think is challenging, but to me is in other way is an interesting thing. So to me, stress will motivates you. This is what I like about my and learn about my first job. Yes. Sorry, Sabrina, I think you are muted.
Sorry. Thank you, Irene. So next we have Alice. So I would like you to share your experiences when you first started working and what are the challenges that you faced?
My first year of working, I think it's a bit of an unfortunate event. I started off in after I graduate, I knew that I wanted to come home. My hometown is in Penang, so I wanted to be close to home. So I tried to look for a job in Penang. Penang, the industry is mostly dominated by semiconductors. Few years back, and I got a job in one of the big names in semicon industry as a process engineer. So after working there for about 6 months, the company decided to close down the Penang plant and move all the operations to Thailand. So there goes my first experience. It's only 6 months. I don't really learn that much because the company is going to close down. There is nothing much for me to do. The task is not a lot. So after that, I move on um, to another medical device company. It's also one of the big names in the medical industry, Abbott. I was there for only about 9 months. So in total, I am hopping 3 companies in 2 years' time. So mainly because I was uncertain of what I wanted to do after graduation. So if you think like you are uncertain of what course you wanted to choose after you graduate after you finish your SPM, so that same thing happened to me when I graduate from university, and I'm not quite certain of what career path that I wanted to do. So I was in my second job for 9 months. Throughout the 9 months, uh, I was a QA engineer, so I actually do not quite enjoy the role. I was feeling very burnt out, which is when I got connected with my supervisor back in my internship company, which is my current company, Ambu, and I found out that there is a planning for expansion, and they are in need of research and development engineers. So that's when I switched to my current company, which I was attached to for 3.5 years now, and I really do enjoy my role right now. So I guess it's okay not to have your career all figured out once the moment you step out from the university. So I guess you can just figure your way out and let the opportunity and the chances take on to you, lead the path for you. Yep.
All right. Thank you, Alice. Next we have Angelina.
Okay, for me, I think I had quite a similar journey with Alice in such a way. I started my first role as a project oil and gas engineer. So with Dayang Enterprise in Miri actually. So I think you guys have heard about the company. It is a oil and gas contractor to companies like Petronas, to Shell. Yep. So my job is actually to ensure oil rig maintenance, be it the static equipment or the equipment maintenance for Shell's asset. So that was my job. The main challenge I faced in my first job would be being a male dominated industry, and it contradicts in a way with where I stand, because as growing up I've always been someone more outdoor. So like Irene, I enjoy hands-on work. So joining oil and gas was sort of a dream, because my dream was to go offshore. I mean, if you have an engineering, it is a good passport for you to go offshore, right? Not anyone can just go offshore. So joining that company was a dream come true. It's a really good stepping stone. But the challenge come where I'm in a male-dominated industry, where typically the management would only send male engineer offshore due to safety concern, and also if you talk about P&L, it sort of doesn't make sense to send a female out, because in the oil and gas industry, if you send a female out to the oil rig, they typically need to give you at least a single room, or the most a double room. So that, as compared to sending a male out to offshore, you only get to stay in a 4-bedded room. So we are talking about 2 headcount versus 4 headcount by just sending different group of people out, right? So it also makes sense that the company naturally would prefer to send a male engineer out to get the job done, right? Yep. So what happened is that the challenge is for me to prove to my management, at least to my supervisor and my HOD, that I can do the job and I would want to go offshore. So obviously it's not something that you can prove to them by just saying, hey, I want to do it. So it takes perseverance, it takes patience. So you need to prove through your action plan, so not just in your attitude when you're doing your work. So it took me about 9 months before I finally got an approval from my HOD to actually send me for my first offshore trip. Yeah. I can't tell you exactly how it can be done, but all I can say is that you need to really prove yourself that, okay, you are able to take responsibility, you are able to, do your due diligence and gain that confidence and trust from the management before people are willing to take a risk in you. And of course, when the opportunity is presented to you, make sure you do a good job above and beyond what they expect, so that you earn your opportunity for the next trip as well in that case. So from there, unfortunately, oil and gas took a hit in 2014. So end of 2015, Dayang had to downsize the project team, because that was the instruction from our client Shell. So my role was sort of affected, and that's when I actually applied to Singapore and joined Tractors as a customer service engineer, where that role puts me more in a customer facing kind of engineering role. And after that, joining Tractors for about almost 2 years, that's when I decided that, hey, I think oil and gas is not going to recover that soon, and I don't get to go offshore that soon again. So maybe it's time to do a career switch if this is not what I can continue doing. So my advice is that you need to be agile, you need to be adaptable and be ready to do that switch. And from there, I decided to do a career switch to join a recruitment company where I still can utilize my technical degree, my technical expertise, where I recruit engineers. So when I do that, I speak the lingo of engineers. I am able to gain trust and confidence from my candidate as well as my client in business partnering. Yeah, so we can share more later on with the other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelina. And last off, we have Vignes.
Yeah. So I guess what I think most of the alumni have said is very true. So I would like to share 2 principles, right? 2 bias that I think you should be aware of. I think the first bias is from over-influence from social proof. I think you come from Curtin University, so you've been living an academic life for the past 4 years. So there will be a lot of bias on how you should pursue your dreams or what kind of jobs you should get. So you got to be aware of what kind of biases you have. I think a lot of us coming to Miri, I don't know, back in 2012, 2013, we all wanted to, I think easily 80% wanted to go to Shell or Petronas. Like, that's the dream, because it's just, when the moment you land into Miri Airport and there's an oil rig just right there, onshore oil rig, and it just keeps telling you, to make it in life, you got to be an oil man. To make it in life, you got to be an oil man. So you got to really start putting your way out of this biasness, right? And the second is the bias from consistency and committed tendency, which is, you know, you've been studying thermodynamics for the past 4 years. That doesn't mean you should treat the world like a thermodynamic problem. So I think the world is much bigger than your academic life, and you should be very open on how you pursue challenges of the world. For example, when I was studying, you know, in between my 4 or 5 years in Curtin, I had three things that I don't want to do. I don't want to be in manufacturing. I don't want to be part of electrical, because in first year, you know, I struggled in electrical subjects. So I told myself, no, I don't want to do electrical, and I don't want to learn accounting. Right now, my first job, I was a sales engineer for an automation company. Most of my customers are manufacturing. I ended up doing, because automation is mostly electrical, I ended up doing electrical. And then my second job, I ended up being in a electrical cable company, where most of our discussion is about electrical properties. And so, and at the same time, right now, I'm also doing my chartered financial analyst, because I also look for M&A opportunities from merger and acquisition opportunities for my company. So learning about how companies perform and why they perform as they are. So you can be the best engineer in the manufacturing, but you need to understand the economics of manufacturing as well. And you know, I ended up doing all three that I don't want to do, and really I'm enjoying myself right now. I regret a little bit that I had these three no's that I didn't want to do. I would have learned all this earlier, but you know, never say no, and really you have to understand your biases and move forward. I think like what Alice said, you know, she was a chemical. She ended up in Penang, which is a predominantly electrical company. They just got to keep changing, and COVID-19 will present a lot of new opportunities. And I think when you're looking for a job in this market, yes, you thank God for your degree, but really don't think about your degree when you look for a job. Don't let the label define what you want to do. That's very important.
I think
Jerry, I'm done.
all four of you like I think summed up in a very good way, and I feel like that is the experience that I think when you are in the working life, that is what I think that's what we really needed to hear, because I think we are students and we feel like everything is fine and dandy, and then when we are done, we're going to be like, oh, we're going to be ready for the job. But I think the realistic approach, I think we really didn't get like to listen to this. So thank you to four of you. But on a lighter note, I'm aware that all four of you are really active in your Curtin life. So like Vignesh, you're in MUN, Irene, you always with your SPE flag, and Angelina, you're in Isaac. And yeah, you guys, you know, did that actually help you motivate and mold you to be the person you are today? And I think let's start with Irene, because she looked very excited when I said SPE. Yeah.
Yeah, SPE was one of my remarkable memories in Curtin, because we are the first batch we are founding SPE in Curtin, and then it's not an easy job, because we need to deal with, SPE is a proper international organization, so we need to deal with Curtin chapter SPE professional, means Shell and Petronas. You know, as a student, you will be nervous dealing with professional, you scared say the wrong thing, and then you need to ask for fund and sponsorship to organize events, things like that. But those are remarkable memories, and it train you to be a professional, like how to communicate, how to manage things, management such as stress management, budget management, time management, event management, and it will make you be more organized. And then beside that, because as a SPE, I also am very active in Curtin volunteers. So multitasking is very, very important. And this will be utilized in your job, because because I'm from a chemical background, so FYP plus DP, and then in my batch I also joined the IChemE design projects competition. So everything happened in one sem. It's stressful, and trust me, you don't want to bear the stress again. But to me, after entering work life, that stress is nothing. because imagine you have three projects ongoing and the project costs millions, and any delay will end up with few 100,000, things like that. So management is what Curtin trained me up, and I utilize a lot during working life. Yeah.
Oh, wow, well said, Irene. Well said. I think yeah, having DP and FYP together is a fun show, and you got to juggle everything. And moving on to Angelina, so what is your perspective on this? Has the Curtin lifestyle also helped you to be this strict boss you are right now? Actually, not boss, but recruiter you are. Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. I hope you guys don't lose me because there's a sudden thunderstorm in Singapore here. Yeah, so I would say besides the technical degree and the technical contribution from the wonderful lecturers I've met in Curtin, like Dr. Bridget was actually my lab assistant back then. And I still keep in touch with a couple of lecturers from Curtin University. Bina was there as well when I started foundation with Curtin. The other part of what I've gained from Curtin, and I really, really appreciate, is that Curtin does provide tremendous opportunity and platform for the students to innovate. And that's what I really appreciate. So how that really influenced me is that I sort of couldn't find an organization, a leadership organization to settle down in, all right, because of my personality and my interests, things like that. So my senior in Curtin, which is Michelle Lau from the business School of Business, partnered together with me to sort of bring and co-founded Isaac in Curtin. I believe Isaac's still around in Curtin. I hope they're still around. Yeah. So what Isaac does is that it is an international leadership platform, which of course Curtin does have other leadership platform, but what makes Isaac unique is that it has this global exchange opportunity that allows you to go for a 6-week up to 12 weeks global exchange program, sort of a volunteering work, be it teaching, be it building a place, things like that, to be involved in more cultural global exchange in other countries. So that was what really attracted me and my partner to sort of build this and stay on. So to build up Isaac or to bring in this organization into Curtin wasn't that straightforward because Isaac is a legacy. It's a not-for-profit organization, but it's also there's lots of paperwork, market research to be done. There's a lot of stakeholder liaison. So the people that were very instrumental in this success of building up would definitely be Haslina and also Anita Draman during our time with Curtin. So a lot of speaking to them, getting funding from the group and proving that, hey, we can make this work. So I would say this platform or the support from the university group would really allow things to happen. And at the end of the day, by being in Isaac, the exposure that I get, not just from setting up something from scratch, but the exposure as I involved in Isaac as a leadership person, it exposed me and pushed me up from my comfort zone. And I always contribute a lot of my current presentation skill, my confidence, my adaptability and resilience. These it all comes from my exposure during my Isaac days. Yeah, so I really thank Curtin for providing that platform and being supportive to allow the students to innovate and make things happen. Yeah. I'll pass it back to Jarin or Sabrina. Thank you.
Sabrina, Jerry, you can move on.
Right. So thank you for the wonderful experience sharing. Next, I believe we all heard Angelina just now. She said that engineering is more towards for male, right? I believe everyone have heard that phrase before, like engineering is for boys, not for girls. So I would like to ask the speakers, what are their advice or what are their thoughts of it? So let's start with Alice.
Hi. Yes, I think yeah, it's always perceived that engineering it's a male industry. But I think it all depends on the job nature versus your personal interests or your personal character. So there are some roles out there that are predominantly male. For example, like offshore engineer, like Angelina mentioned, where one room needs to fit four bunk beds, and it's for male. and some other roles like a site engineer, which requires physical endurance, but uh, those are the ones that we know that it's predominantly male. But I think there are also some other roles out there. There are actually a lot of roles out there that are actually equally balanced between male and female. For example, like design engineers, simulation engineers, software engineers. So these do not, I mean, it's not gender biased, these kind of roles. Yeah. So take my current role, for example, my department, it's 70% female and 30% male. So because I'm in the medical device industry, so it requires a lot of more meticulous work, more reporting, data analysis, this kind of on testing work. So my manager would think that a female is actually more careful, more detailed, to be able to cover everything, and to make sure that the product or the medical device that we design is ready for the market, and we will not cause any failure to the patients. So I think we just need to be at the lookout for roles that we think that we are more interested in. If you're a person which is more um, introvert, or you prefer a role that does not require so much of a physical strength, then you can just look into maybe designing roles, or software development roles. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Alice. So, since we have only one male speaker today, which is Vignesh, so I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Male is more suited for engineer.
All right. First, I don't think that is a true statement. I think we should just throw that statement out of any conversation, because I think education is a great equalizer. I think all of us are getting the same education. No doubt there will be levels of confidence in different parts of society, but I think even when you talk about profit and loss statements, when I study companies, I don't see any gender inequality or gender. In fact, I find that companies with more gender inequality have a higher level of inefficiency. I think it's just because there is so much of old dogma thinking entrenched into the kind of management that they have. And really, it's not. I think in 2020, it's not really a big issue for especially most big companies, right? When you go to smaller companies where the owner has all the shots, I think that plays. I think gender biasness plays some role in it, but you have to do your part to convince that. And I think that really can't be helped. That's on an individual basis, right? But I think on a more bigger level, on MNC companies, or even SME company, slightly bigger organizations where you have 20 staff. This is an ongoing issue that a lot of the management are aware, and they're trying to fix it. And really, I think as for graduates who are coming out of this, I want you to be aware that this problem exists, but this problem is not a major stopper. You don't want to use this as a reason. You don't want to use this to justify any action or any non-action that you plan to take. And most of my R&D engineers, Prisman has a policy where we try to be very equitable as much as we can. But honestly speaking, it's not something that I think about. It's not something that I'm very lucky because I'm a man, right? So I don't really have to think about this problem. But I think a lot of women who think about this problem should know that there is a lot of change coming from the top, and you guys should just go into the industry with confidence and not be afraid of being discriminated. If you are, carry on, persevere, and you have heroes like Angelina, Irene, and Alice. And by the way, these three people here are all engineers, and I'm the only non-engineer here, right? So if you look at that, I think women can do very well, and they will do very, very well in the future. So I think it's not a problem, but it's something that you have to be aware of, especially for the men in this cohort. You have to be aware that discrimination can happen and will happen, and you have to be aware and how you can try to mitigate it. A lot of men have a lot of privilege that they don't think about. So let's just be more aware. I think technical wise, physical wise, profit and loss wise, there's no justification of why a woman cannot be equal to a man.
All right, thank you, Witness, for that wonderful explanation and your thoughts. So, since Angelina has more experiences on this, so let's hear her out.
Okay, so as mentioned earlier on, I'll share more details in this segment about how I actually get to convince my HOD or my supervisor to actually send me offshore in my first job. So I think a lot of times it's not just on the day-to-day work that you do. A lot of times at workplace, it's also how you come across as an individual. So it's a lot on the personal and the character side. So of course you work, your boss can see what you're doing and all this, but it's also important for us as we step into society to take time out to actually care about the interests of your colleague, about your bosses, to just build that relationship, not on a work aspect, but on a personal aspect. So what I did back then was that I actually found out that my supervisor is someone that actually do hiking on a weekend at Canada Hill as well. And I happen to also do hiking with my colleague and my other friends at Canada Hill almost every weekend as well. So when so I make time to sort of go for lunch, initiate lunch with my supervisor. And of course, he has the best interest for my career growth as well. So I was very fortunate in that sense. It's a two-way partnership, I would say. And it's through this lunch setting, out of work kind of context, that my supervisor found out that, I am actually very outdoorsy. So it's not all words and saying that, hey, boss, I can do this, I want to do this, right? It's also through the other segment or a personal aspect that he gets to see this aspect, this character of what I enjoy doing, and I am doing it. And from there, of course, with my supervisor recommendation, it is definitely easier for him to convince my HOD, who is another guy, to eventually get that approval and send me to go offshore. But of course, at the end of the day, I would believe that everything starts from taking the first initiative, because if I had that biasness already that, hey, it's a male-dominated industry, I will not have a chance, and I don't speak up, then no one will know. So my advice to Curtin's graduate or even people stepping into society is that you need to know where you stand. You need to be more vocal, but of course at the right time. At the end of the day, opportunity in life is for you to grab. If you don't speak up, if you don't speak to your manager, to your supervisor, or even to your colleagues about your aspiration, then no one knows that is what you want to do. And like what Alice mentioned, even her first job did not work out. She actually catch up with her ex-supervisor from Seagate, who is now working in Embu, and that's how she got the chance to join Embu. So a lot of times in workplace, it's important to keep that lifelong connection. And the same case with, graduating from Curtin, the moment you end your student life, I think it's also important to maintain relationship with lecturers or even your friends that of course you are close with. Let's admit that we can't afford to, keep in contact with all lecturers, all friends, but it is important that you do it out of a genuine care, out of a genuine interest that, hey, this is a friendship I would like to build, and these people, the lecturers that, have taught you, they could become your friend, they could even become your mentor, and even friends like even Irene as well as Alice, both of them were my Curtin juniors, and we grew to become very close friends. Last year, we even attended Alice's wedding in Penang. So these are really interesting friendship that you forge, and you never know when you need advice from each other as you step into society. So I think that's very important to take note, that it's not just all about work on the technical aspect. A lot of it is also on the communication and the personal fronting as well. Thank you.
right, Jereen, Sabrina?
Oh yeah, I'm back. I'm so sorry, Angelina. The storm came to KL as well, so it wiped out my laptop as well. So anyway, yeah. So I liked how all of you had so many different perspectives. Yes, Irene, the question is to you next. But at least congratulations for getting married. But sadly, I didn't know you earlier, or else I would have got an invitation too. But I think it's true. Like all three of them said, I think if you want to do something, you shouldn't regard your gender or where you're from. It is just the pursuit and your motivation that drives you to go forward. And I really like how three of you actually said that. And Irene, do you have anything to add on to what three of them said about this male-dominated field? I feel like it's no more. It's 2020. I think it's all about equality. So anyone can do anything now. So yeah, Irene, anything to add on?
My suggestion would be you need to know yourself. What is your weakness and what is your strength? So as a female, male dominant, I would say boss will prefer talent. That's all. What they see is what you can contribute to the company. So utilize your strength. Like for female, like what Ellie said, we are more details. We are more data oriented. Things like that might help you. Like last time I was based in factory, and trust me, in factory, in harsh environment, some female cannot stand it, and turnover is quite high. So bosses tend to prefer male engineer. But if you can adapt to those kind of environment, on top of that, you utilize your strength like data analysis, things like that. You produce good report, good result, help company to save money. Yes, you'll be ahead of them. So just know yourself, utilize your strength, and try to minimize your weakness. Yeah, this is how you perform in front of your boss.
Wow, well said, Irene. Well said. Okay, guys, so moving on, now we have something called the pandemic that we all are aware of, and we have been living with it for the past, 9 months. Sorry, I didn't calculate. After February, I think we didn't actually live, we were just in our houses. But as from a student's point of view, I think all I did was just go for online classes, like all the students who are watching right now, and as well, play TikTok and do stuff as well. But what did you guys do? How was work from home? I'm aware that Alice does yoga, so I think Alice became a pro in yoga right now because I think work from home. I think she was just typing and then she was doing some yoga poses when she was doing her work. But yeah, Sabrina, how was your experience first from a student's point of view? Then we'll go to all of you as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jaren, for the question. So, I believe this COVID-19 has affected every single one of us here, including myself. So, I actually came back to my hometown like a day before the lockdown. So I'm considered lucky enough because one, I get to spend more time with my family, which is something you will rarely get once you start work. And then two, I get free food, of course. I get my bed, I get anything I want back home, which I don't really get in Miri. And then study wise, I'm more able to keep up. I would say this online class is actually an advantage for me, which is good because I'm able to, like study at my own time. I won't be busy with other things. And yeah, I guess that's all. So let's proceed with Irene.
So for the pandemic, I split into two parts because I'm oversee the supply chain. So the first part will be about the business and the company. So what pandemic affected us as an edible oil industry is because of the supply chains. Like for example, we need a lot of palm oil feed for our factory. But during the MCO, palm plantation is not an essential industry. So no workers is allowed to go to a plantation and then harvest the palm fruits. So there is a break in the supply chain upstream. So we need to solve all these problems in order to let our factory keep going, because if the factory stop, means losing money. This is one of the challenging part for the upstream. And then the midstream, as our factory, 50% headcount cut. This is one of the MCO government rules. So in terms of that, not in factory everyone, nobody have laptops. I would say majority non-engineers don't have laptops, so they are not able to function at home. This is another cost that manufacturer need to bear with. And for the customer, the downstream, the customer part, okay, because our company exporting our products to overseas. So with the pandemic, we need to be quarantined. In other words, our vessel reach the border of the country, we need to be quarantined for 14 days before we berth at the port. All these extra costs are affecting the overall business. So in other words, pandemic make us need to spend more money. And in order to counter that, company tend to freeze employment. This is a bad news for all the graduating students. Yes, it's a very bad economy nowadays, but company such as medical field or pharmaceutical, things like those industry are massive hiring. So these are the tips that for you when you hunt for jobs lah. And luckily I'm in a essential industry, so it's not badly affected. But in order to, we do know the pandemic will last for how long, so a lot of projects are on freeze now for the currently. So this is the overview for the pandemic effect on the business side. For working environment, a lot of us, I've been working from home for 6 months now, since April. So working from home means there is no such thing as 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. Whenever your boss call you, you need to work, even though it's 10 p.m. at night. So this is what we struggle now. Like there is no cut off that. Even Saturday, Sunday, we are working. This is one of the side effects. But in view of another positive view, right? Company can cut a lot of office costs because everyone is functioning at home. And in another way of looking at it, people are more effective because they need to respond during any time of the day. This is the drawback, or it's a positive way for a company. They fully utilize all the employee, I would say. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Irene, I think you brought up a point, yes, because everyone wants to know whether we're going to get a job after we graduate. So I think I will move on to Angelina, but I think I want to change the question. Yes, you are a recruiter by profession, right? So did that actually, you are recruiting people. So now, did COVID-19 actually affect how your working lifestyle and as well as recruitment for you?
Okay, thanks, Jerry, for the question. Yes, I did a career switch. So now I'm with Michael Page, a UK listed company that specializes in doing permanent contract recruitment for all the companies that could potentially be our business partner. All right. So on a personal front, in terms of working environment and working from home, there isn't that much of a disruption, I would say, because naturally mine is not a manufacturing engineering industry where you don't have, machines and operation like the industry like Irene, where you need to be at the manufacturing floor. So naturally it's quite easy, I would say a very smooth transition for us to just adapt and go into working from home. And what I've been doing all day is video conferencing, everything to be done over the phone and technology. All right. But I would like to shift the topic more towards sharing about the job market, since, well, I'm a recruitment consultant. So I would say definitely at this season, a lot of companies are focusing on just to tide through the period. So I wouldn't say there isn't any hiring, but at this point of time, only companies that are still going strong, perhaps in more thriving industry, like obviously the medical, the healthcare industry, and the other essential services, definitely your food industry, that's your FMCG. So FMCG is huge. It's fast-moving consumer goods. It comprises of your food manufacturing, the likes of your Nestle, your Hapsang, all right? Those are essential. You need food. And of course, there is the other side of the FMCG group, which is more towards lifestyle. Toilet paper was sold out, right, during COVID season. Yes, so those companies like your Kimberly-Clark, those are still thriving companies that would need the manpower. And in fact, these are the season where this group are actually actively hiring. So in terms of that, it is not all bad and negative on a on getting a job point of view. But of course, if you talk about the other industry like your oil and gas, unfortunately at this point of time, it's not thriving that well. I could be wrong about that because I've left oil and gas for quite a while already. And if you talk about electronics and semiconductor industry, it is slowly picking up because these days there's lots of customer that is mainly from China. And as far as I understand from my China customer, China is already back to normal. And in fact, they are starting to see profit and ramp up in terms of manufacturing to make up for what has happened in Q1 and Q2. All right. So I would say in terms of my advice to the graduating student, as what Vignesh has shared earlier on, is really you need to be really open about your option. If you graduate from an electrical engineering degree and you have always thought of, oh, hey, I like, semiconductor industry, I want to go into it. Know that you can still apply by all means because, well, if you never apply, you never know if you get a job, right? But at the same time, do not go into the society with a very fixed mindset that, hey, I want this job and the rest is out for me, all right? You need to be adaptable and know what's happening in the job market, be open about it. And that's where you could potentially land yourself in a surprise, just like what I did with myself. I figured out, I was quick to realize that, hey, I wouldn't be able to continue the hands-on job of going offshore to the oil rig. And unfortunately, I'm not very good in designing. I think my university teacher, I saw Dr. Chiang is here. She would have known that I'm really bad with design, automation, programming. So of course, I've already known these are my weaknesses and I can't possibly proceed in become like a programming software engineer or an electrical design engineer or even mechanical design engineer. So I was quick to adjust my career in such a way that, hey, since I do enjoy that part of recruitment, which I do get the exposure during my Isaac days in Curtin, where it exposed me to talent management and connecting with people, I thought, hey, maybe I could combine my skill set, my degree, my technical degree with my personality to contribute and to do something that I enjoy. And I took that leap. And of course, like I always mention, if you don't take that first step, you will never know what is out there for you. So be ready to adapt, be open-minded. And I think it's very important as well to unlearn what you have learned in university, but also be ready to learn new things when you enter into a new setup, and you might need to relearn what you have studied in the past as well. Yeah. Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Angelina. Now, I believe all of you here have some questions for our speakers here today. So please feel free to ask. They will try their best to answer. Next, Vignesh. So how has the pandemic affected your working hours?
Okay, so before I go into that, I think I would like to share a little bit about, I think the major question is right now is massive uncertainty, right? I think Professor Bina and also the Pro-Vice Chancellor has shared about uncertainty. So how do we deal with uncertainty and how do we make the best decision? Okay, first, there's two layers to this. One is we need to look at the macro event, right? So what I normally do is I study history a lot. So obviously pandemic is not a new thing for humanity, right? So 100 years ago, there was a 1918 pandemic, which came in 4 waves, from 1918 to 1920. If you study the pattern of the pandemic, the dates of when it occurred and how it occurred is similar to what we're facing right now. So you want to have a framework of how this world is going and not just doom and gloom. And the second thing is we need to have a little bit of perspective, and a little bit of perspective is that as time move on, time is the greatest force multiplier. As time move on, we tend to be better. When I say we, I mean as a country and as the world move on, GDP tends to grow, and every time GDP grow, more jobs are always churned out in the economy. Just because 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you had a vision on how the job is, doesn't mean that vision is true for now, but the pie is constantly getting better. For example, in 1980, Malaysian GDP is only 24.5 billion. ringgit. 2020, we are at 333 billion ringgit. So that's a 13 times growth. And I think jobs tend to follow that kind of trajectory as well. And I don't know if you read the newspaper, but we have never had a newspaper or you've never had coffee conversations of anyone saying, economy is doing really good. Every year is bad. Every year the job market is bad. Every year the oil price is low. And I've been listening to this ever since I was in primary school. My dad works in a bank. He used to come and say, economy is bad. We got to save money. And he's doing it until today. And it's true enough. And when we graduated, I think Irene and Alice, that's where the oil market started to crash. And Malaysia, being a major oil producer, has seen unproportionate amount of damage to its economy. But I think we've survived that. I think Malaysia government and also Malaysians adapted to it very quickly. And companies tend to do that as well. And I think as students, you need to have a framework. One of the richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, was born in August 1930, right? And he's the richest man in the world, but he had to go through, his investment career had to go through World War II, Vietnam War, Cold War, the Cuban Missile Crisis. That wasn't a reason for Americans to be extremely rich and successful in their career. So I guess I guess when looking for a job or looking for a way out in your career, you don't think so much about the macro events. I think as the human race will do just fine. Eventually, you just have to have a little bit perspective, right? A little bit more optimism. And on the second level, what you can do to search for jobs. Okay, so that's a little bit more on the ground. So I'm sure when you study, you have the industries in mind, but I think a lot of us don't know what other industries are there out there. For example, when I was in university, no way, if someone asked me to write what's your dream career, I would have never written selling cables for a living. I would have never written that I would be part of a cable manufacturing company. I've not even thought about a company that manufactures cable can be a global company. And I've definitely not thought about medical devices. I think about Intel, I think about Shell, I think about, Gamuda and all that big names that we're very used to. So study the supply chain. When you graduate, you're going to have a lot of time, right? So study. When you see you want to book into Shell then have to hire a lot of subcontractors. What kind of subcontractors are there? And what kind of equipment oil rigs need? Sensing machine, diagnostic machine, oil, different kind of lubricants. And each component of the supply chain is a career in itself, and it's really, really big. And I think a lot of exploration is needed. In fact, inside cable industry itself, we have copper. And then when I think about copper, I think about mines. So I have to think about mining industry. Then when I think about the insulation, which is PVC, PVC, then I think about where does PVC come from? Comes from oil and gas, then comes to companies like Lotte Chemical Titan, where they take this raw material into plastic pellets, and then pellets into companies like Syntex, which creates plastic plastic sheets. So each of them are massive companies on its own, and they don't get enough talented, intelligent engineers like you applying into those companies. Shell gets too many talent and they get too much credit for it. So these guys need your talent as well, and they pay very well, and really you gotta just sit down, think slowly and think very deeply, and look at your keyboard, that plastic component, that metal component, that spring. I don't know if you guys are wearing jeans. If you look into your jeans, please take a look at the Zip brand, the zipper. The zipper brand, I'm sure 80% of you will have the same brand. And it's a huge monopoly. The zipper brand is created by one Japanese company. You can check the brand for yourself, and it's a huge industry. And all these guys are paid. All these guys are millionaires. The guys at the top are all millionaires. The guys at the bottom are having a wonderful life, and then we have a bunch of engineers having no job. So I guess you gotta really start looking into these companies who don't have the marketing budget to to share about their jobs as greatly as the bigger companies. So don't despair. I think a lot of opportunities out there. Just have to take it slow and take it very deeply. And to answer your question, nothing much has changed. I think obviously a lot of the communications I do now, we don't do face to face. But the great thing is everyone is facing this problem. So a good problem is always when everyone is facing the same problem. So then this is not a unique problem to me. So the competitiveness because of the COVID-19 has not changed. Maybe we're going to earn less revenue over time, but I think it's just a temporary thing. And there will always be money flowing. I mean, human will always need to consume. And we will consume our way out of this economic crisis. So, yeah.
All right, thank you, Vignesh. So I hope everyone took note of what he did. You know, if you never try, you never know. So just go for what you feel like you want to join, you know, whichever company you want to join. And if you don't get, then just try again, right? Because there's no harm trying. Last off, we have Alice. So Alice, I heard that you love doing yoga. So how has this pandemic affected your work? You know, now that you get to spend more time at home.
I have learned, I've added a lot of more complicated moves to my yoga, the personal note. Yeah, but actually I am still very busy during the MCO period. In fact, I am only working from home like probably less than a month, and because I'm working for a medical device company, so we are considered as essential. And my company, we manufactured video scopes, and it's single use. So our demand, I mean, for bronchoscopy, which is the video scopes that goes through your mouth and into the lung. So because we are selling single use, right? So the sales skyrocketed. So we are in huge demand because of COVID-19. And my company set up more production lines very urgently, like how China set up hospitals. So we ended up expanding a lot more production just to cope with the demand from COVID-19. So I think medical and healthcare industry is in much emerging industry right now. So for those graduating students, future engineers, I think you guys can look into medical tech company. It's really an emerging, booming industry right now. And in fact, my company, it's going 3 times bigger next year. We are setting up new factories in other countries as well. Yep.
Wow, thank you so much, Alice. At least one of you had some good news regarding employment. So please drop us your email so I can email you my resume after this as well.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
You can connect with me in LinkedIn. We are hiring a lot, especially in development, designing, and manufacturing. There are a lot of roles. So if you're interested to have your career develop in Penang, feel free to contact me.
Yeah, I will do. Okay, guys, as time is running out, I think these 4 people actually gave us sheer honesty on how the industry is working right now and their personal experience in Curtin. And this is something I like to ask all of you. Okay, this is, I think, the last question before we move on to a close today's event. Can you summarize your entire Curtin experience in one word? Okay, let me repeat the question. Can you summarize your entire Curtin experience in one word? So I think I'll go with Irene first.
Thanks, Jaren. I know you will choose me first one. I would summarize my Curtin life in one word, which is remarkable. This is the 4 years life that they created so many stories that I will tell my grandchildren when I'm old. Yeah. So I lose a lot, I gain a lot, I experience a lot. This all happened in these 4 years.
Wow, okay. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, great. So now I think let's pass on to Angelina. Thank you, Irene.
Thanks, Jerry. One word is quite tough, but if I were to summarize, it would be it would be fulfilling. All right. As I mentioned way earlier, it provided us not just a technical degree, but way beyond a life beyond a degree. I would say I spent 5 years in Miri. I did my foundation with them. After that, I went on and took my degree. So when I talk about beyond just a technical degree, of course, Curtin itself presented a lot of opportunity. So you know how the usual in Malaysian setting, after your SPM, you applied for your JPA. I'm not sure if JPA scholarship still exists. You apply for Petronas, your Shell scholarship, everything. But I did not got those, so I went into Curtin and I got a foundation scholarship sponsored by Curtin itself. So I thank them for that. That was for foundation, and I didn't know that Curtin actually allows us to use a foundation result to apply for your degree scholarship again. Yeah, so that was another window of opportunity that opened up for me. And beyond just on the education fronting, I would say a lot of the lecturers and also the stakeholders that I've met have actually contributed a lot to my growth. I still remember one of the lecturer that actually told me this. Because you know how some lecturers, they actually assign you into group assignment. And as a student, you were still quite naive, I would say. You are still in your own bubble, so you tend to have this not you're unhappy that you're paired with certain people, and I was like that as well. So I remember going out to my lecturer and saying that, I'm being paired in this group, and I understand that this particular person is lazy, and I don't want that person to affect my grades, right? It is quite natural that we all have that mindset. We went through that, and I remember my lecturer actually shared this with me. Angelina, there's a reason why we pair everyone of different personality into different groups, because in real life, when you go into a working environment, you can't choose your team, you can't choose your boss. At that point of time, 5 years ago, no, in fact, I've been working 6 years already. Yeah, so 6 years or even way before that, I don't get that. Honestly, I don't get why my lecturer is telling me this. But now that I'm working for 6 years, it is very true. You go into workplace, you can choose your job because that's what you apply into, but you can't choose your boss, you can't choose your colleague. So at the end of the day, it's about working around things that were given to you, and be really adaptable, because even the job scope that you've seen on JobStreet, on LinkedIn, it says a job A. When you go into a company, you might not be doing a job A. All right, things are ever changing. Your boss could see that you are better off doing other things, and they could assign you something, but you might not like it. So be really ready to adapt and change, and always bear in mind that you need to be resilient as well. Things might not come to you instantly, but be innovative, be courageous to actually try different things, to step out from your comfort zone. And I get all these attribute that is in me through the exposure that I get in Curtin.
Wow, well said. A great alumni indeed. What about Alice? Anything to add on? One word from you. What was your Curtin? Summarize the Curtin experience for us in one word. I know it's hard. That's why it's a hard question, but you guys are really smart, so you should be able to answer.
I think it would be eventful for me if it's one word, because I think it's the only period in our life, where uni life, where you get the most social activities. I think outside of academic, I think Curtin has created a very good platform for having a lot of active clubs like Isaac and Curtin volunteers. I think through all these platforms, you get to grow your network, you get to know more people. Yep. And when you enter working life, if you have a flexible working hours, then that's very good for you. If not, then you will be like 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 in the office environment, and after work you will be very tired. You don't want to interact with people anymore. So I think for you guys that graduating, I hope you treasure the last few months or last year of your university life, because I think it is the best moment of your life. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Alice. And Vignesh, the last one. Yeah, you have a lot of words, so the challenge is now. Give me a word.
I think what is foundation? I think is amazing in giving us that foundation where you can just go out and do whatever you want. I'll share a bit. So I think so academic is I think mechanical engineering. I know a lot of you must have a lot of complaints. You guys are studying, useless shit, but really the fact that you can go through and understand the principles of physics and all kinds of knowledge allows you to go out there and learn even faster. I think learning in the outside world you're required to learn every day. Your machines are not going to be taught in management are not going to be taught in academic life. But the fact that you can master heat transfer and master noise on the second day and then master fluid dynamics on the third semester allows you the flexibility to move between different complicated topics around the world. And I think that's the advantage that Curtin has given. And secondly, I think Curtin has a lot of great lecturers. I personally enjoyed talking to Mr. Terence, Dr. Sujan and Dr. Rauf. I think these lecturers and professors have shaped a lot of the philosophical thoughts I have about life and also about technical problems. And really, I used to complain a lot about assignments. Right now, it's like, oh, thank God, thank God I went through that, because when I see my colleagues suffer, it's like, amateur. So because we've gone through intensive exercise in simulation in university, so this is very important.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much, all four of you. I think you guys gave us such a good light, and you guys are still very scared of your lecturers, and some of them who thought you are actually in our session today. So thank you so much for being cautious in your words. And yeah, I think I think it's such good advice. So I think me and Sabrina learned a lot, and we thank you so much for participating in this. And I think I will give the time back to Nomade, yes, our host for today's session, to conclude for us today. Paging for Nomade, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you so much to our Curtin alumni speakers, Miss Angelina, Irene, Vignes, for joining us today. And thank you, Sabrina and Irene, for moderating and co-hosting the webinar session today. All right, so those of you graduates, don't leave this webinar first, but we hope all of you graduates have been session. It was in for your information, Dr. Bridget has been working very closely with the career and alumni for organizing this webinar and making it a success for all of you, especially graduates. So before we go and make tomorrow better, let us invite Dr. Bridget Chin Life, Senior Lecturer in Chemical Engineering Department of Faculty of Engineering and Science, to share the concluding message. Yours.
Thank you, Nomade. Can you hear me? Can you hear me from your side?
Yes.
Now we are ending. Now we are coming to the end of this pre-graduation with webinar session. Is there a feedback echo on your side? Because I'm hearing echo from my side.
Maybe you have two connection there, I guess.
Yes, I have two.
Maybe you can.
Okay, wait first.
At one of the.
Okay, so can you hear me?
All right.
Give me a minute. Okay. Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry for the disruption just now. Okay. So now we are coming to the end of this pre-graduation webinar session. I would like to express my gratitude for this session, especially Professor Simon, Professor Dina, Professor Tui, Professor Associate Professor Agus, Ms. Lily, Ms. Catherine, our MC today, Mr. Nomde, our moderator, Irene and Sabrina, and our alumni panel, that is, we're having Alice, Vignes, Angelina, and Irene. So I'm actually looking forward in the future for our current student right now to contribute back to the university like how our alumni panel for today's session. So you can actually contribute like giving a sharing session in the future or providing internship opportunity program in your future workplace or as a industrial advisor for final year design project or final year research project. Okay, so before I conclude this, Witness is working for Prism Group. He actually has a graduate program that he would like to share with you all. And I will pass a short time to him to actually brief you all on the graduate program that he's offering in his company. Okay, so I'll pass the time to you.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Bridget. Yeah, so I guess
I will share the slide.
yeah. Thank you for all who are patient. I think we started with 147 participants and we are down by a third, so to 97. So I hope this will be beneficial to you. Don't share with the guys who left. So while Dr. Bridget is working on the link, I'd like to share a little bit of our graduate program. So I think this is one of the few programs in Malaysia. I mean, I might be ignorant because I've not studied other programs, right? That gives you international opportunities. So one of the things that I was looking for my career is to have an international opportunity. What this program does is you join in as a graduate and you get hired, I think, around March. And a week after your first week in work, we will send you to Milan for 2 weeks for induction and also training. Obviously, with the COVID-19, things has been a little bit complicated, so they will do it online. But in principle, there will be 3 training sessions over 3 years, and each training session will be done in a school of management, one of the best school of management in Europe, Bocconi School of Management, and all this will be paid for. So your flights to Milan will be paid for. You'll be given 2 weeks stay in a hotel, and of course, everything else during that journey will be covered. And what is expected of you is once you go through the induction in Milan, you understand the headquarters, you understand the business, you understand the strategy behind what we do and why we do it. You come back to your home country. If you're a Malaysian, you come back to Malaysia. If you're from Australia, you go back to Australia. And you serve 1 year in your home country in a rotational basis. So you'll be in operations, you'll be in R&D, you'll be in commercial. And then on the 4th rotation, you will get to decide what you really enjoy and you get to specialize in that. And then after your first year rotation, you will spend 3 years overseas. How they determine, so you'll be posted to a country not of your home country. So if you're from Malaysia, there's a possibility of you going to France to do R&D, or there's a possibility of you going to Australia to do telecom production. So well, I don't know where you want to go, but I think where you want to go and what you want to do will play a part in the final country of selection. We have 50 countries to choose from, and graduates from all over the world will be rotating around the world to different countries outside their home country. So you have a bunch of Americans in Italy, and you have a bunch of Italians in the Middle East and also in USA. I think this is a little bit of a advantageous program because you get to live the expat life when in your second year of working experience, and the kind of reward and salary that you'll get is competitive, and obviously you get an expat package when you leave. So I think this is a very interesting program. the first thing that you need to note about is that we are a manufacturing industry. So if you have no interest in being in a manufacturing industry, then obviously you want to rethink. But if you want to join in because the business is right for you and the industry is right for you, and perhaps the job scope, or you're just open and you just want to try around, I implore you to apply. Even when we have COVID-19, even when economy is down, our graduate program is always ongoing, because this is about building the talent pipeline for our future business operation. Manufacturing tends to have very old people in business, and especially when manufacturers have to compete with new sexy companies, tech companies. So obviously this is one of the way that Prismian has catered for this program. So feel free to ask me any questions regarding this program. And unfortunately, I cannot decide who gets to go in and who cannot. You have to apply online. There's no, send me resume and I'll forward it to you. You have to apply it online, and you have to, and good luck to you. And I hope you really apply. We need more. I hope more Curtin alumni, more Curtin graduates apply for this program. It's a lot of UTP, so we need more Curtin. So a lot of UTP students apply. So just want to share this with you guys. Any questions regarding the program? I think that's the best time to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Witness, for sharing a bit of our introductory on the graduate program. So anyone here would like to ask questions to Witness?
So if you don't have any questions, you can always drop me an email with your resume, or with any questions, any specific questions, like how would I survive in another country? What if I want to get married? Or if you're getting at homesick? I think my career, I've been very lucky as a very young person. I've gotten to work in many different countries. I've dreamed about having an international career and I've gotten it. COVID-19 has slowed it down, but I think international career is still very, very doable, and I implore any one of you to apply to this. So yeah, Dr. Bridget, if they have any questions, you can we shoot to you, or you can shoot it back to me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Witness. Okay, so I think that is all. So for those students that are here, I would like to have a short request to fill up 2 questionnaire links that which I'm going to post it here on the chat box. So I would like you to fill on your experience while you are studying in Curtin. Some of you all have actually filled up. For those who have not filled up, could you just take around 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes to fill up those both links? Okay, so I think that's all. So thank you very much to all the alumni and also the MCs and the moderator today that is attending, and also Professor Tui. Okay, I think that's all. See you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bridget. With that, we have come to the end of the webinar session. And thank you to our deans, managers, lecturers, and staff joining us today. Thank you so much to all of you, our dearest and beloved Curtin students, and soon to be graduating. You are joining us from the start until the end of the session. Thank you so much for career and alumni services, especially Miss Catherine for organizing and bringing us all together today. Once again, thank you to our alumni speakers. Thank you, Sabrina and Irene. Thank you, Alice, Angelina, Irene, and Bigness. Wherever you are on this pale blue planet we call Earth, we wish all of you all the best with your final exam, especially the graduates. With your postgraduates, if you're deciding to take your postgraduate, your career and your future endeavors and your life, remember, make tomorrow better, make the world a better place to stay. I'm Nomide, your webinar host, signing off. We hope to see you all again soon. Until then, God bless and have a great week ahead. Thank you and bye-bye. See you all.